Hi everyone, I'm Veterans Law Attorney Elizabeth Lunn, and today I want to give you some tips about attending your CNP evaluation. The Veterans Administration will often schedule a CNP exam for you when you file a claim for benefits. It's really important that you get prepared for the exam and you know what to expect. When they call you to schedule the exam or send you a notice in the mail that the exam has been scheduled, it will tell you where the exam is, who it's with, where to go, when to be there, and it will tell you what conditions you're being examined for. It's not at all unusual for the same examiner to be handling all of your physical complaints. So your orthopedic exam, your foot exam, the exam for your bad back, those can all be done at one time by the same CNP examiner. So be sure to look at that notice and know exactly what they're looking for. The next thing that you ought to do to prepare is to look at the DBQ form. The DBQ form is the Disability Benefits Questionnaire form that is sent to the CNP examiner. They fill that form out when they do the exam, and that's what the report is that goes back to the VA. It indicates what you've been diagnosed with. If there's an orthopedic issue, it will contain range of motion notices. If it is for a mental health exam, it will talk about your symptoms and the severity of your symptoms. You can access those DBQ forms on the VA's website, and there's a link to that below this video so that you can go and check out those forms. That way you know what the examiner is going to be asking you about and what you need to tell them. When you go to the CNP exam, make sure that you get there on time or a few minutes early. You don't want to be late and you don't want to miss the exam. If an emergency comes up and you have to miss the exam, then it's really important that you call the examiner's office, explain to them what's happened, and that you notify the VA that you're going to miss the exam, because the VA will get it rescheduled for you, but the examiner can't do that on their own. Once you get to the exam, it's really important that you're very honest with the CNP examiner about how difficult things are for you and how severe your symptoms are. If you have a physical impairment, make sure to talk with them about how it affects your daily life and what you can and can't do because of that impairment. This is not the time to act like you're with friends and family and say, oh yeah, I'm fine, everything's okay, it's not that bad. This doctor or nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant, whoever's doing the exam, needs to know how bad things are. But be careful not to exaggerate. They're going to know if you're exaggerating. So just tell them what things are really, really like. If it's a mental health CNP exam, then you may be nervous about having to talk to a stranger about things that are incredibly personal to you and very emotional. Just know that the examiner is trained to do this. They are going to not hear from you anything that they haven't heard from someone else before. And it's really important that you're honest with them about how bad things are. So if you are constantly getting in fights with family members, if you are getting fired from jobs, if you have a problem with substance abuse, you need to be honest with the examiner about that, because the examiner is going to be the one who is telling the VA how severe your symptoms are. Once the exam is over and you get home, it's important to make some notes about what happened during the exam, particularly if you think something didn't go well, or if the examiner was rude, or if they didn't do the things you thought they should have done. So for example, if you go and see a CNP examiner about your shoulder injury and they don't do any range of motion measurements, then you need to make a note of that and you need to tell the VA that. Because chances are the report is going to say that your range of motion was normal. The next thing that you need to do after you get home is you need to request a copy of the CNP evaluation. You can do that by requesting it directly from the VA. The examiner cannot give you a copy. So it's important that you ask for a copy of it. You want to see what the examiner has told the VA. You want to make sure that any notes the examiner made about the severity of your symptoms is recorded in that report that they have turned in to the VA. If the VA is trying to make a decision about whether or not your condition is service-connected, then in addition to the DBQ report, the examiner probably also filled out a medical opinion form, and they will indicate whether or not they think that your current medical condition is related to something that happened to you in service or a problem that you had in service. So you need to make sure that you look at that medical opinion as well. If it looks like from the medical opinion that the examiner missed some evidence in your file or didn't address something that you felt was important, that you let the VA know that. You need to object to any problems with the exam. Otherwise, the VA is going to take what the examiner says and is going to use it. So it's really important that you get those documents from the VA and that you respond to them if there's an issue with them. Once you've done all of that and your C&P exams are over, you're going to get a decision from the VA. If you get the ratings decision and it's not what you wanted, you weren't service connected or your rating wasn't high enough, go back through that decision and look to see if they relied on the information that the C&P examiner gave. If you have questions and you have a C&P exam scheduled and you already have an attorney or a VSO who is working with you, you need to talk with them before you go to the exam so you know what to expect and what needs to happen. If you aren't currently working with anyone and no one is representing you, then you're going to need to do those things on your own. If you have questions about a C&P exam, or you need help with representation, or you just want someone to take a look at your claim and see if you've got enough evidence, what you might be missing, then certainly reach out to my office. We're happy to do a file evaluation for you